Hello my dear students, welcome to CMI's online classes. In today's class, in this video for the students of Standard 9, we'll continue with the same chapter, the tenses from our English grammar. So from this chapter we have already completed the simple tenses, the continuous tenses and the perfect tenses. And we are going through the last tense, that is the perfect continuous tenses. From these perfect continuous tenses also, we have already completed present perfect continuous tense and past perfect continuous tense. And in this video, we will study and understand the future perfect continuous tense. That means, in this video, we will study in detail about the use of the future perfect continuous tense, the verb forms that are used in the future perfect continuous tense, and the structure of different sentences in the future perfect continuous tense. This is our last tense from all the classification of tenses, and I want you all to listen to the explanation very carefully so that you have to clear your concept and understand the verb forms and the structure of different forms of sentences in the future perfect continuous tense. So at first, we will see the structure of affirmative sentences in this future perfect continuous tense. We have already understood the structure of affirmative sentences in the perfect continuous tenses as a whole. But now we have to understand particularly this future perfect continuous tense, that what sentence structure is there in affirmative form in the future perfect continuous tense. As we all know that we use will and shall to write sentences in all future tenses. So likewise here also in future perfect continuous tense also we use will or shall as the main helping verbs. Okay, so as we know that this tense is perfect and continuous both, and now if we come to future, it is future also. So what we have to understand is in all future tenses we use will or shall as the helping verb, modals will or shall as the helping verbs, and in perfect tenses we have understood that we use the helping verbs to have plus the main verbs be3. To write the sentences in the perfect tenses. Now in the continuous tenses we already know that we use to be verbs plus the main verbs before. So now when we come to this particular future perfect continuous tense, so how do we understand the uses of all these forms of tenses? How do we fulfill the requirements of all these forms of verbs in particular future perfect continuous tense? When we know that after will or shall we always use the main verbs B1, basic form of the verbs. So जब हमें पता है कि जब हम modals will और shall यूज करते हैं तो modals will और shall के बाद में जो भी main verbs आता है वो हमेशा B1 होता है. That means in future perfect continuous tense also when we use will or shall, then after that whatever the verbs come we need to use B1. And we have to understand that in perfect tenses when we use the group of to have verbs, after that we have to make the use of the past participle form of the verbs, B3 form of the verb. That means जब हम किसी भी to have verbs को यूज करते हैं sentences पे, तो उसके बाद जो मेन वर्ब आता है वो हमेशा B3 होता है. That means past participle form of the verbs. B3 means past participle form of the verbs. Okay, इसका मतलब जब हम have, has, had जो भी to have verbs यूज करेंगे उसके बाद जो मेन वर्ब आता है वो B3 होता है. Okay, and in continuous tenses we have understood that after using the group of to be verbs, हमने ये समझा है कि कंटिन्यूस टेंसेस पे जब भी हम टू बी वर्ड्स का इस्तेमाल करते हैं उसके बाद हम जो भी मेन वर्ड्स यूज करते हैं वो हमेशा प्रेजेंट पार्टिसिपल फॉर्म ऑफ द वर्ड्स, दैट मीन्स आईएनजी फॉर्म ऑफ द वर्ड्स, और वी ऑल्सो से इट एज द बिफोर फॉर्म ऑफ द वर्ड्स, उसका इस्तेमाल करते हैं। तो ये सारा कंफ्यूजन हम कैसे क्लियर करेंगे? व्हाट आर द कंफ्यूजन्स? आफ्टर वी हैव टू यूज will or modals will or shall in future tenses, like in future perfect continuous tense also we use will or shall. After will or shall we have to use V1. Again the tense is perfect also. What does it mean? We have to make use of to have words. After to have words we have to make V3. And the tense is continuous too. So continuous भी है तो हमें to be verbs का इस्तेमाल करना है। तो after that to be verbs के बाद हमेशा हम बिफोर फॉर्म ऑफ द वर्ब्स का इस्तेमाल करते हैं। तो हाउ डू वी अंडरस्टैंड ऑल दीज इन विच वी हैव फ्यूचर ऑल्सो, परफेक्ट ऑल्सो, कंटिन्यूअस ऑल्सो? सो ये कंफ्यूजन को कैसे दूर करना है? नाउ लेट्स सी। फर्स्ट वी विल सी द एफर्मेटिव फॉर्म ऑफ सेंटेंसेस इन द परफेक्ट फ्यूचर परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस टेंस। सो लिसन टू दिस sentence structure, explanation of this sentence structure very carefully. See here, subject we have. After subject we use will or shall as the helping verbs, like we use in every future tense. Okay, like after will or shall we have to use have. Okay, so the use of have has fulfilled our two requirements. What is that requirement? What are those requirements? After will or shall V1, and after will or shall V1, and in perfect tenses we have to use have. So have is V1 also, and it is also from the group of to have verbs. तो perfect tense का requirement भी fulfill हुआ, after will or shall का V1 का requirement भी fulfill हुआ। क्यों? क्योंकि have खुद एक have verbs का V1 फॉर्म है और वो खुद एक have verbs है। Okay, now this requirement of what we require in the perfect tenses is fulfilled here, the use of to have verbs. Now after to have verbs we have used been. So been has also fulfilled the requirement of two forms of verbs. One is after have we use V3 form of the verbs in perfect tenses. Okay, in perfect tenses we use V3 form of the verbs. So been क्या है? Been V3 form of the verb भी है from the group of to be verbs. Group of to be verbs से क्या है? Been एक V3 form है। Okay, so ये एक to be verb भी है। तो यहाँ पर क्या requirement fulfill हो रहा है कि continuous tenses पे to be verbs का requirement भी fulfill हो रहा है, और perfect tense में आफ्टर टू हैव वर्ड्स B3 फॉर्म ऑफ द वर्ब्स का भी रिक्वायरमेंट फुलफिल हो रहा है। ओके, आफ्टर दैट व्हेन वी कम टू द मेन वर्ब इट इज बिफोर फॉर्म ऑफ द वर्ब बिकॉज इट इज कंटिन्यूअस टेंस। टू बी वर्ड्स प्लस बिफोर, कंटिन्यूअस टेंस टू हैव वर्ब प्लस B3, परफेक्ट टेंस will or shall plus V1, future tense. So all these requirements have been fulfilled here. So because this is the most important form of verbs to be used in the future perfect continuous tense to be understood by everyone. Okay, after that comes the rest of the sentence. Okay, so you need to revise at home and you need to practice framing sentences with the help of this sentence structure. We will practice in this video also, but after that also you need to practice framing other sentences of your own in the future perfect continuous tense. But before that, let us understand what does the future perfect continuous tense tells us about. Okay, the future perfect continuous tense is used to refer an action that will begin before a definite moment in the future, will continue up to that moment and will also continue at that moment. So future perfect continuous tense हमें क्या बताता है? फ्यूचर परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूस टेंस हमें ये बताता है कि फ्यूचर परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूस टेंस का यूज कैसे एक्शन को रेफर करने के लिए होता है, कैसे काम को रेफर करने के लिए होता है, कैसे काम को बताने के लिए होता है. टू रेफर एन एक्शन, ऐसे काम को बताने के लिए होता है. दैट विल बिगिन बिफोर अ डेफिनेट मोमेंट इन द फ्यूचर. फ्यूचर में कोई एक ऐसा काम, ऐसा समय दिया जाएगा कि वो समय से पहले वो शुरू होगा, अभी शुरू हुआ नहीं. इट इज अ फ्यूचर टेंस, इट इज अ फ्यूचर एक्शन दैट विल बिगिन इन फ्यूचर बिफोर अ डेफिनेट मोमेंट. किसी एक खास मोमेंट के पहले वो स्टार्ट होगा. एंड व्हाट हैपन्स आफ्टर दैट विल कंटिन्यू अप टू दैट वेरी मोमेंट. हो सकता है जिस समय वो काम शुरू होगा फ्यूचर में, उस समय कुछ क्षण के लिए, फॉर अ शॉर्टर ड्यूरेशन ऑफ टाइम, दैट एक्शन विल कंटिन्यू एंड विल ऑल्सो कंटिन्यू एट दैट मोमेंट. हो सकता है कि उस समय कुछ ज्यादा समय के लिए भी वो काम कंटिन्यू हो. ओके, विल कंटिन्यू. ओके, सो आई होप यू हैव अंडरस्टूड. Future perfect continuous tense is used to refer an action that will begin before a definite moment in the future and will continue to that very moment for a certain duration of time or will continue up to the greater extent. हो सकता है कुछ समय के लिए वो वहां पर कंटिन्यू हो या तो वो कंटिन्यू होता रहे. अंडरस्टूड? So now we will understand the uses. We have already understood the sentence structures in affirmative form. Now we will understand the uses of future perfect continuous tense. Now we use the future perfect continuous tense to talk about an action that is continued at present and will continue till a particular point of time in future. हो सकता है कि future perfect continuous tense है जो काम अभी भी कंटिन्यू हो रहा है और फ्यूचर में भी वो कंटिन्यू होता रहेगा. ओके, लाइक she will have been studying in this school for 3 years this March. That means at present also she is studying in this school and till March उसका ये स्कूल पढ़ा हुआ कितना होगा? 3 years होगा. She will complete 3 years till this March. But what is the problem? She is studying. Okay. So वो पढ़ रही है लेकिन इस मार्च तक वो इस स्कूल में पढ़ा हुआ 3 साल कंप्लीट होगा. अंडरस्टूड? आफ्टर दैट इट मे कंटिन्यू और आफ्टर दैट शी मे लीव द स्कूल ऑल्सो. एंड नाउ अनदर एक्शन टू अंडरस्टैंड, टू एक्सप्रेस इन द फ्यूचर परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस टेंस. वी यूज फ्यूचर परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस टेंस टू एक्सप्रेस, टू रेफर एन एक्शन और टू एक्सप्रेस एन एक्शन that will begin in future before a definite moment and will continue at that moment. The same I have explained before. Okay, जो किसी एक समय दिया जाएगा फ्यूचर में, उससे पहले शुरू होगा और वो उसी समय तक कंटिन्यू रहेगा या तो उसके बाद भी कंटिन्यू रहेगा. अंडरस्टूड? नाउ सी हियर, I will have been writing a reply to your letter between 6 to 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. So that means I have not yet started writing a reply to your letter. Okay, so it will begin tomorrow before or after 6, but it will continue up to 8 p.m. Okay, that means the action of writing will continue for 2 hours, at least 2 hours, but it has not yet started. So these are the kinds of actions that are expressed in the future perfect continuous tense. Okay, students, I hope you have understood the uses of the future perfect continuous tense. Now we will move ahead to understand the structure of different sentences in the future perfect continuous tense. So at first we will see the affirmative sentences. You have already understood subject plus will or shall plus have plus been plus before plus rest of the sentence is the structure of affirmative sentences in the future perfect continuous tense. Okay. So I have already explained you about this sentence structure. Okay. Now we will learn framing sentences with the help of this sentence structure. She will have been studying in this school for 3 years this March. So this is the same example that I have given you with explanation in this video just before this explanation. Now see here, subject plus will or shall plus have plus been plus before plus rest of the sentence. Subject. See, from will or shall we have used will. So we have used B1 form of the have verbs have, and B3 form of the to be verbs been, and B4 form of the main verbs studying. With the rest of the sentence, this is the correct structure of sentences in affirmative form in the future perfect continuous tense. Okay, I hope you have understood. Now negative sentences. Negative sentences means sentences having no or not. So here we will put not just after the main helping verbs of the future tense, that is will or shall. Subject plus will or shall plus not plus have plus been plus before plus rest of the sentence. This is the structure of negative sentences in the future perfect continuous tense. For example, we have the same sentence I have changed into the negative form. She will not have been studying in this school for 3 years this March. Subject plus from will or shall we have not plus have plus been plus before plus rest of the sentence. This is the negative sentence in the future perfect continuous tense. Okay, now we will see the interrogative sentences, but in positive form. Interrogative sentences in positive form. Okay, so we know that we are writing interrogative sentences with the help of helping verbs, and in this future perfect continuous tense we have used the modals will or shall as the main helping verbs. So when we write interrogative sentences by using the helping verbs are used at the beginning of the sentences. So we have done the same here. So will or shall are the helping verbs we use in the future perfect continuous tense. So we have used will or shall. Okay, at the beginning of the sentence. After that comes the subject. After subject comes have plus been plus before plus rest of the sentence. So now the example we have, will she have been studying in this school for 3 years this March? Question mark. So this is the positive interrogative sentence in the future perfect continuous tense. Now come to interrogative sentences, the structure of interrogative sentences but in negative form. Negative form means the sentences having no or not. So the structure of negative interrogative sentences in the future perfect continuous tense will be as same as it is there in the positive interrogative sentences. But just we have to understand that negative sentences means having sentences having no or not. So here we will put not after the subject and before the have verbs. Okay, see here. Will or shall plus subject plus not plus have plus been plus before plus rest of the sentence is the structure of negative interrogative sentences in the future perfect continuous tense. See here. Will she not have been studying in this school for 3 years this March? So this is the negative interrogative sentence in the future perfect continuous tense. I hope you have also understood the structure of sentences, different forms of sentences in the future perfect continuous tense. Now what you have to do is you need to practice framing. At first you need to practice framing affirmative sentences in the future perfect continuous tense with this sentence structure, with the help of this sentence structure. And you need to follow the processes of other structures, how we have framed negative sentences, how we have framed interrogative sentences in positive form, how we have framed interrogative sentences in negative form in the future perfect continuous tense. That processes, those processes you have to follow, and you need to practice framing different sentences in the future perfect continuous tense, or you should learn to frame affirmative sentences in the future perfect continuous tense and transform those sentences into negative sentences, positive interrogative sentences and negative interrogative sentences. Okay students, so I hope my explanation is enough for you all to understand the uses of future perfect continuous tense as well as as well as to understand the structure of different forms of sentences in the future perfect continuous tense. So if still you have any kinds of doubts, kindly raise your questions during the class period and clear your concept about the uses of the future perfect continuous tense and the and framing different forms of sentences in the future perfect continuous tense. So I would like to stop here. Thank you so much, my dear students. With this video, with the explanation of the future perfect continuous tense, we have already completed all tenses. That means the chapter tenses have been completed now. Okay, the chapter tenses has been completed now. So now in our next video we will make a short revision for all tenses that we have completed till now. Okay, so we will meet discussing about the same chapter tenses for the last time in the next video, in which we will discuss about all tenses and framing sentences and transforming each sentence into all tenses. Okay, so thank you so much, students, for being the part of my today's video. Thank you so much.